Bloomington, Indiana. A small university town lost among the forests of South Indiana, where life is governed by a schedule of lectures, football games, and evening get-togethers. Spring here smells of fresh leaves, damp earth, and freedom. Students are busy preparing for exams, some planning for the summer, others for the evening. As night falls, the campus empties, the streets become quieter and the forest around them seems closer. Back then, none of the locals could have imagined that evil from the outside world could somehow disturb the ideal of this wonderful place. But a town accustomed to be a sense of security is confronted with a real fear, one that for the first time will last for years. "19-year-old Jill Behrman has just completed her first year of business studies at Indiana University and has taken a job at the College Student Recreation Center. A cheerful young woman for whom life was all about sport, Jill was an avid cyclist and after graduating from high school in 1999, made a transcontinental trip to Atlantic City. She was obsessed with pushing herself to the limit and joining the leaders known in space as racers. It was this very suggestion that often compelled Jill to ride alone. While her friends considered it a regular bike ride, for Jill it was an opportunity to exercise. On May 31st, at 9:32 a.m., she turned off her computer and headed out for a usual bike ride. She was supposed to meet her father and grandfather at 3 p.m. for lunch after her shift at the Student Recreation Center, but she never showed up. She was last seen half an hour later near the intersection of Horrell Road and Moffett Lane in southeast Bloomington. Later that evening, Jill's father called the police and reported her missing. The family wasted no time in immediately spreading the word about her disappearance. They quickly distributed flyers and a volunteer search party mapped roads and began searching every road Jill might have traveled. Local organizations and church groups raised money to establish a reward for anyone with information. 2 days later, on Friday at 5 p.m., her bicycle, a Cannondale R500, was found on the side of the road next to a cornfield approximately 10 miles northwest of Bloomington, near the town of Ellettsville. Jill was nowhere to be found, and the bicycle showed no signs of damage. A jogger out for a morning run spotted the bike the same day Jill went missing and took it home. Hearing about Jill's disappearance on news, he immediately contacted police. Investigators searched the area but found no additional evidence. The location where Jill's bike was found raised more questions than answers for investigators and her family. She was last seen leaving her home, heading south. However, her bike was found 10 miles northwest. This wasn't the road she would have taken, as it would have taken her through the city traffic. Furthermore, if she had indeed been riding through the city center, it's logical to assume someone would have noticed her. However, the leader of Jill's cycling club, Dr. Hose, rode the road and said it was entirely possible for Jill to return home in time to make it to work by noon. The direction of Jill Road is a key clue in the case. Another witness reported seeing a white Ford van, commercial type, slowly driving south past his driveway on North Maple Grove Road at approximately 8:30 a.m. on May 31st. This witness reported seeing two men inside the van. He saw the van two more times that morning and later identified as exactly like the Bloomington Hospital van. Additionally, a man named Robert England reported seeing a woman matching Jill's description riding a bicycle north of Bloomington on North Maple Grove Road at approximately 10 a.m. on the day of her disappearance. 3 days later, the mystery deepened when a digital radio believed to belong to Jill was found neatly folded in a parking lot of Bloomington Church. At the same time, another parishioner noticed a suspicious dark pickup truck quickly pulling out of a parking lot. Investigators conducted dozens of searches and received nearly 3,000 tips in this case. 6 days after Jill's disappearance, a detective took his bloodhound Sam and followed the northbound road about half a mile south of where Jill's bike was found. Sam picked up Jill's scent and continued following the northbound road to where her bike was found. Sam picked up Jill's scent while crossing Highway 37, even though Jill's parents said she hated crossing roads. However, the scent was never detected south of her home. One of the most credible leads involved an 18-year-old man who claimed that 2 weeks after Jill's disappearance, she was passing an old black Ford pickup in Ellettsville around 10:30 p.m. when the driver grabbed her arm and tried to pull her inside. She broke free and fled. However, no arrests have been made in this case. Another attempted kidnapping is believed to be related to Jill's case. The incident occurred in Bowling Green, Kentucky, and involved a female cyclist whose bike was intentionally hit by an unknown motorist. He attempted to drag her into his car before being chased away by a witness. His composite sketch was posted on a missing person posters in hopes that someone would recognize him and pursue him. Authorities have another theory in the case. They believe Jill may have been the victim of a hit-and-run accident, and that the car's occupants may have panicked, moved her bike, and then hidden her body. However, the damage to the bike was minimal, making it unlikely that she was hit while riding. Unfortunately, little evidence has been found to prove what actually happened to her. On March 22, 2001, a woman named Wendy Owings confessed to FBI agent Gary Dunn that she was in a car with another woman named Alicia Saunders and a man named Uriah Klaus when they struck Jill while driving under the influence of alcohol and drugs. Wendy told authorities that Jill wasn't killed by the hit and run, but they believed she had suffered serious injuries, so the women decided to kill her. Wendy claimed they dumped Jill's body in a creek and then abandoned her bicycle across town. All three were named suspects as early as June 2000, less than a month after her disappearance, based on statements each of them gave to others about Jill. This confession initially seemed promising, as one of the three women lived near the location where Jill's bicycle was found. The day after the confession, investigators began searching Salt Creek, the area where Wendy claimed the body was found. However, the search was soon interrupted by flooding and resumed in July 2002 after the water receded. During this search, a large sheet of industrial plastic was found, matching the items mentioned by Owings. On September 9th, much of Salt Creek was drained during the search. This resulted in the recovery of another sheet of industrial plastic, bungee cord, and a knife, also mentioned by Owings. However, the search of Salt Creek ended without finding Behrman's remains. Agent Dunn filled a probable cause statement detailing the confession, the search, and its results, and presented it to prosecutors, but no charges were filed. The trio were giving polygraph tests, and when asked whether they knew of Jill's disappearance, the test revealed that Wendy was truthful in her statement of knowledge. However, both Uriah and Alicia, while answering the same questions in the negative, also showed signs of lying. Wendy recanted her testimony, and Carl Saltzman, then the Monroe County prosecutor, declined the press charge against all three. Nevertheless, detectives continued to investigate this lead. Prosecutors considered filling charge without a discovery of a body. However, the case soon took several unexpected turns. On March 9, 2003, nearly 2 years after Jill's disappearance, human remains were found in a remote area of Morgan County. Just a few days later, they were confirmed to be those of Jill Behrman. She was not found in a creek where Wendy claimed she had been dumped. An autopsy also revealed that Jill's injuries were inconsistent with being struck by a car. Jill had died from a gunshot wound to the back of the head. At that point, Wendy Owings changed her story and denied any involvement in Jill's death. She and Alicia were acquitted. However, Uriah Klaus remained a suspect, already in the Monroe County Jail on a felony charge of attempting to kidnap an 18-year woman from Ellettsville just days after Behrman's disappearance. Klaus consistently denied any involvement in Jill's death, and investigators eventually identified another suspect, John Robert Myers. In March 2006, a grand jury opened an investigation into Jill's disappearance and death. About a month later, on April 9th, Myers was arrested and charged with Jill's murder. John had been a suspect for several years. Jill's bicycle was found just a mile from his home. He was on vacation the week of her disappearance. On that day, witnesses noticed that the windows of his trailer were closed and his car was parked out of sight. He was also reportedly hysterical that day and talked about leaving town and never returning. John and his girlfriend broke up shortly before Jill's disappearance. A few days later, he told his aunt about her disappearance and stated that he was afraid of being blamed for it. He also said that they hadn't found her body yet and assumed she was dead. He also told her that he was afraid of roadblocks, but did not explain why. In August 2000, his brother noticed that the 12-gauge shotgun he kept at his parents' house was missing. It was the same shotgun used to kill Jill. After Jill's disappearance, John repeatedly raised the issue with various people for no apparent reason. He told co-workers that he was considered a suspect. He also falsely claimed to have found her bicycle. He also bet that her remains would be found in the woods. On another occasion, he stated that if he ever hit a body, he would do so in a wooded area over there, pointing north on Maple Grove Road. He claimed to feel comfortable in the area because he had hunted there before. He also told the corrections officer that he was sorry about what had happened to Jill and gave him a list of places where he could help in the search. Her body was later found in one of these places. In November 2004, John called his grandmother, declaring, "Grandma, if you only knew what was going on in my mind. If the authorities found out about this, I'd be in jail for the rest of my life." Also, he later told her, "Grandma, I'm so sorry I was such a bad person. I'm so sorry I did those bad things." He also claimed that his father knew about what happened and took it to his grave. While in prison on unrelated charges, John also discussed the case with a cellmate. He stated, "If she hadn't said anything, none of this would have happened." A relative of John Myers, Richard Sweeney, also testified. He recounted his conversations with John and said that John often hunted near Paragon using a 12-gauge shotgun. Investigators later took his ex-girlfriend to the location where Jill's body was found. She identified the location as the same place he had taken her on evening after an argument. During questioning by police, John claimed he wasn't afraid of roadblocks and had never told anyone about Jill's disappearance. The prosecution claimed he had become angry after breaking up with his girlfriend and had taken his anger out on Jill, kidnapping and murdering her. No evidence was presented to show Myers forcing Behrman into his red Honda CRX or loading her bicycle into the small car. It was not stated that Myers drove her to his trailer located 1 mile northwest of the Hayfield Gate on West Maple Grove Road near the Blatcherpool wastewater treatment plant. Myers offered to take a polygraph test, but his offer was rejected. He was found guilty of murder on October 30, 2006 and sentenced to 65 years in prison. Since then, there has been speculation about John's possible innocence due to a rush to justice. The defense noted that there was no physical evidence or witnesses directly linking him to the crime. Investigators claimed his attorney, Patrick Baker, made virtually no effort to defend him, and jurors were allowed to consume alcohol and use cell phones and televisions, creating an atmosphere described as a frat party. The jury did indeed listen to an audio recording made during John's interrogation by Detective Rick Lang. At the beginning of the interview, Lang asked Myers if he had any theories about the case. Myers replied, "I have no idea." Myers says he doesn't remember exactly what he was doing at the time of Jill Behrman's disappearance, but believed he was on leave from his job as a courier and hadn't been away for a long time. Lang told Myers they had found DNA that hadn't been identified. Myers stated in a recorded interview that if police needed a blood sample, they can get one. He appealed the conviction to the Indiana Supreme Court. In November 2015, his conviction was upheld. In October 2019, a federal court overturned Myers' conviction, declaring his counsel ineffective. The court ordered his release within 120 days of the verdict, unless prosecutors retried the case. However, in August 2020, a ruling by the U.S. Court of Appeals for the Seventh Circuit overturned that decision. The three-judge panel determined that while the district court was correct in its treatment of his attorney, and jury's verdict was correct based on the prosecutor's evidence against him, as a result, his conviction was upheld. And in April 2021, the U.S. Supreme Court denied a petition for a trial. Although the evidence against Myers was quite compelling, a full confession was never obtained for him. Several alternative theories also exist, one of which concerns the possible involvement of a serial killer in Bloomington County, who is credited with the mysterious disappearance of Lauren Spiro in 2011. And the murder of Hannah Wilson in 2015 by Daniel Messel, who is also linked to a composite sketch of a possible kidnapper in the 2000s. Therefore, the question remains partially open. Who and why so cruelly took the life of a young girl, a life that was just beginning to blossom like fragrant flower buds in late May when Jill set out on her last walk? Soon after her disappearance, friends and colleagues at Recreation Center decided to organize an event to keep Jill's story in public eye. The annual 5K run for the End Zone was renamed in Jill's honor and has since become a fixture on campus. In addition to the 5K, Jill's family established the Jill Behrman Scholarship for Emerging Leaders, awarded to a student or students who have participated in recreational sport for at least a year and demonstrated leadership qualities. Although most current undergraduate students at Indiana University were not even born in 2000, Jill's story lives on. Her story, and others like it, can instill fear in the endless what-if questions that arise when doing something as mundane as walking or biking to work. For Bloomington, it's a reminder of the need to advocate for campus safety, especially for first-year students. But instead of evoking fear, Jill continues to influence, instilling optimism and a sense of joy.